Ben Martin with Texas Housers against the bill. Is that correct?
That's right.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman Leach. Thank you, members of the committee, for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Ben Martin. I am the research director at Texas Housers. I'm speaking today against House Bill 32, which would radically transform the eviction process for leaseholding tenants at their expense. In the author's layout and in some of the testimony, there was conversation about months and months and months to get to a determination, a disposition in an eviction case. I'd like to use my time to start to talk about the length of time that it actually takes for an eviction disposition to occur in Texas. According to the law, a landlord can get an eviction disposition in just a couple of weeks. We have heard stories about having to wait a lot longer than that, but luckily we have data to show us exactly how long this process takes. And the bottom line is that it does take, in practice, about 20 days. I challenge you to find a court that resolves disputes faster than eviction courts do in Texas. I don't believe that that court exists. In Harris County in 2023, the median number of days for a case to go from being filed to having a disposition was 21 days. In Dallas County, 18 days. In Travis County, it was 20 days, and in Bexar County, 22 days. I have 2024 data for 2 of those 4 counties, and it's almost identical. You may have heard anecdotes, you have heard anecdotes today from the apartment industry about evictions taking 4 months or 6 months. It simply isn't true according to the data. If the problem is a writ, let's narrowly address the execution of writs. This bill does way more on the front end than just addressing the problem with writs. In the 4 most populous counties in Texas, over 98% of cases had been heard by the 60-day point. In Dallas County, in 2023 and 2024, 100% of eviction cases had been heard within 60 days. If we're hearing stories that dispute that, I really encourage the panel to consider the details of those cases and whether there are other mitigating circumstances involved that are not being presented. We heard a couple speakers ago about mom and pops. To tell you the truth, if this bill were to pass, I'm not really worried at all about mom and pops. I do believe that in most cases, they're going to talk to their tenants and try to come to some resolution. This process is not a process that I think is going to lead to rampant bad behavior by mom and pop landlords. What I'm worried about are the institutional investor owners, the same ones that Governor Abbott has been expressing concern about. Research has been very clear that large institutional investors are quicker to file evictions and less willing to directly engage with their tenants. These are out-of-state, financialized Wall Street owners whose aim is to squeeze every drop they can out of these units. I'm concerned about the out-of-state institutional owner members of the Texas Apartment Association, like Graystar and Cushman & Wakefield, just to name a few. These are not Texans. These are not Texas-based organizations. These institutional investors, which are the exact same firms that Governor Abbott has raised concerns about, are exactly who stand to benefit from this bill. By definition, most evictions are filed by these large corporations. We recently took a look at the highest evicting properties in Harris County and Bexar County. Over half of them were large landlords that were not living or operating in the city itself. Part of the problem of wrapping your arms around this bill is that it's difficult to summarize. It takes a buckshot approach to changing the eviction process. Tons of changes all over the place. It's really hard in this conversation to focus on one thing because it's like dandelion seeds blowing through the whole eviction process. But the intent of the bill is clear. Sweeping changes to Texas's eviction process to move any sliver of a chance that a tenant might be able to defend themselves and get their day in court.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Martin.